Don't jump the gun.
You son of a bitch.
Don't be such a jerk, Derek.
He's already disgusted. That's the sign that we're off to the right start.
Derek's teasing me.
Heyo, this is Shit Talk Reviews. Thanks so much for coming back. What's going on? My name is John.
Derek.
David.
It's a pleasure to have you with us once again. I hope you enjoyed the last review we did. If you didn't, check it out. 72 Seasons by Metallica. We did take the easy way out, but, you know, hey, what are you going to do? It was a record everybody is excited about, and we couldn't not talk about it because it's Metallica.
Well, let's stay thrash. This band comes from the shadows of Metallica, Slayer, Anthrax, and who's the fourth one?
Megadeth.
Megadeth, that's right. That's right. Yeah, so...
thank you, Dave.
How do you forget my states?
Well, it's been a long week, plus I have to work with you.
True.
That's true. Being in the proximity of Dave for too long is bad for everyone's health.
Yeah, well, anyways. So in that shadow, the big four is Overkill. And that's who we're talking about today, Scorched.
Yep. Excellent.
What's sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Please, David.
My bad.
Look, a break when Derek stops talking, it's not an indicator that it's time for you to start.
What I was going to say is it's Bobby Ellsworth's birthday yesterday. He turned 64, and we're talking about Overkill today. That's what I'm saying. Huh. It's almost like we're celebrating his birthday with a little review.
All I know is when I heard, hello, hello, hello from the gutter, I was in. As a kid, I was in. I was excited. And that was it. And that's the only history. And I purposely have paid attention to them from my radio days, my reviewing days. I have, looking at the 20 records that they put out. I remember a lot of them, and I remember writing reviews for them. So it's amazing to me that upon the return to the media, they're still going. And frankly, they're probably better than they were in the 90s. And certainly the early 2000s now. They're writing better songs.
Yeah, I'd like to say,
please,
being
David,
from New Jersey, they are a New Jersey band. It's kind of a big deal for me. They are one of the originals.
We won't automatically hold that against them.
Being from Jersey, so, and also first album came out in 85 to answer your question.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Can either of you guys run down all the band members?
Yeah, so we got Carlo, and he's bass. That's Carlo Verni. We've got Bobby Blitz, which is lead vocals, and he's one of the original members. And those are the two original members.
That are still with the band,
Since 80.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dave Linsk, Derek Taylor, and he's rhythm and backing vocals. And then my guy, Jason Bittner, and he is from Shadows Fall. And I've known those guys for a long time, going back to my time of booking shows in Massachusetts and, the Mega Kung Fu and Hit the Pit days. Brian Fair, I talk to him all the time. And so it's really cool to see Jason having another life with a legendary band like Overkill.
Yeah. Bittner's great. He came out of Schenectady, New York.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. He started out, like he said, he's been fill-ins for other bands. The guy's impressive, no doubt. He's got some pedigree, some experience for sure. I mean, he's been around.
As soon as I started playing this record, it was like getting smacked in the face. They are a super solid, old school thrash metal band, and they bring that sensibility to this album.
Scorched set the pace to this album. As soon as I heard
the opening track.
No doubt. I felt a little bit of Iron Maiden there in the beginning with the guitar, and it just carries right through the rest of the album. Like Derek, Scorched, for me, The Surgeon, Wicked Place, Know Her Name, and Going Home. Love it. Love those singles on the album.
Some of the standout tracks, Scorched, it was a great opener. It just comes out swinging, smacks you right in the face. I love the little sunrise moment in the back half of Scorched, too. That was a nice little unexpected treat.
It's a great song.
Twist of the Wick, I thought was awesome. It just sounds huge. It's a massive track.
Can I tell you, I got this the day it came out, and Twist of the Wick was my favorite song. Him saying that fits Bobby's vocals, but more importantly, it is a very theatrical song. Mm-hmm. It's a big sound. Yeah. And what I thought of was my mom was an opera singer. She made me go watch Broadway musicals growing up, was Phantom of the Opera. And you could see this song as a Broadway musical song. Like, I was thinking if Andrew Lloyd Webber got his hands on this song and put Bobby in a theater without a band, but with an orchestra, Twist of the Wick would fit perfectly in there. It's very, very powerful.
It's interesting.
song.
Yeah.
At 64 years old, his voice sounds incredible.
I don't disagree. I just wish you would stop interrupting me.
I'm sorry.
Let's talk for a second about the psychology of the interruption. Dave, do you think that you're more important than us?
I think he does.
At times, I think my
I think
voice
he
should be
does.
heard. Yeah.
Can I just say that real metalheads wear, like, if they're going to wear glasses, it's black and metal, not pink and purple or purple and orange, whatever.
My readers were lost, and this was my backup.
We know
So-
that this is an audio podcast, and usually we like to use the album cover as the clip art along with this, but I just snapped a photo that I may well share with the rest of the world, so they all can share in the glory.
Let's get back to Scorched.
Yeah, please, let's. Fever, probably my favorite track on the record. I love the intro. You and I talked about it earlier. It has kind of a Queensryche vibe.
Yeah.
And Bag of Bones was a surprise for me. Not a surprise, really, but it had a feel, and I can't describe it any way other than like bouncy. And I mean that in the best possible way. It like almost for a metal track, it almost like has a lilt to it, if that makes sense to you
Sure.
guys. Absolutely loved it. And I thought it was a great way to close the record for them. But yeah, I really enjoyed the album. From a vocal standpoint, not my favorite, but I will say that it definitely fits.
When I was young, I always looked at Bobby Blitz in the same vein as Rob Halford. The difference was Rob at the time in the 80s and early 90s was already much more dynamic. But I think with time, Bobby has expanded his... And I would challenge you to go back and listen to the earlier material.
Of course.
You know, it was thrash. It was speed. It was about speed. Now it's about writing good songs that are grounded in thrash.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, and that was exciting for me with Scorched. It is wonderful to see them still going strong, and I think it is also important that if you look at Slayer, and we'll go back to the Big Four, and how I forgot Megadeth, I don't know.
You're not as young as you used to
Well,
be.
it's also Friday afternoon, long week. But when you look at them, Slayer has stayed consistent until the end.
Mm-hmm.
Anthrax has changed. Metallica went through a bunch of metamorphoses. But Slayer stayed the same. Even Megadeth got very commercial for a while. Tule Mon was, not classic Megadeth.
But Derek,
But
the band who signed with Atlantic sold 16 million records, and I looked that up. I didn't know they were the first metal band to sign with Atlantic back then. Why are and please resume what you're saying, but why aren't they considered part of that four? Why when you think of the Big Four, you think of the four
why
that
is
are up there.
Overkill not
But why
included?
is Overkill not in that discussion?
I would venture to say a lack of commercial success.
Yeah.
I mean,
Whereas-
yeah, to Derek's
Well,
point, Derek, please finish. He's right. Slayer somehow gets that pass, right? They get in.
Mm-hmm.
Because
But
they're Slayer, but they never sold out. I mean, they never went for the commercial play. They stayed consistently who they were. Slayer, we're talking about, and Overkill. And I've made this argument a long time. Testament is one of the best bands in my mind that doesn't get the same notoriety, but they've consistently put out great album after great album after great album in the thrash vein.
Well, you
they've
could ask
never
the
had
same
commercial
question.
success.
Yeah, exactly. You could say the same about Testament as we're talking about with Overkill.
Yeah.
I think the reason they're not forefront of mind when you talk about the Big Four, why wasn't it the Big Five or the Big Six? And I think it's a commercial success thing.
I don't even think Testament and Overkill, I don't even think they care that they're not in the big. You know what I mean? They're not worried about Megadeth, Slayer, and Metallica. They're doing their own thing.
Well, my guess is, I won't speak to whether or not they care about it. My guess is any band, having been in bands that, had a little success and bands that went nowhere, obviously you want your projects, you want people to love you and be willing to throw money at you and come see your shows and buy your merch. So my guess is, they all have the dream of being as big as Metallica, as the Big Four, Slayer, Megadeth. Who knows why, the listening public is fickle, maybe. Maybe the albums didn't get released in the right month.
Right.
Who knows? But I would say, again,
go ahead,
acknowledging that I haven't, thank you for realizing that you were going to interrupt me
my
again,
role.
Dave. That's very kind of you. Fucker. Now, see, man, you made me lose my train of thought. I can't tell you how disappointed everybody's going to be now, because I know they were really hanging on my thoughts
It'll
there.
come back to you, hopefully.
Well, it probably won't.
Didn't you just say I was old and now you're old? And
I
you're
didn't say
forgetting
I
your thoughts?
wasn't old.
Oh, okay.
I just said you were.
Do
And
you
Dave's-
think do you think because they went through 18 or 19 band members, people just
It could
get
be.
annoyed with that?
It could be. I don't
Right?
know.
It's like Van Halen, right? They've been through 3 leads. After a while, people just get sick of it. Do you think that's
Maybe.
why?
I don't know.
What do you think? You think? I mean, you like a band, you don't want to see constant turnover, right?
Well, you know, I think in the case of some bands, I mean, Testament turns people over. They've had great drummers, you know, Lombardo, Gene Hoglan. I mean, but they turn people over. But for the most part, guitarists and Chuck Billy have stayed the same there. And with Overkill, they've had 2 band members the same all the way through, and then their guitarists have been around for close to 20 years. So not bad. Right?
When did Jason Bittner join? Like
2017.
I was going to say 16, 17.
Yep.
You love it.
Oh, he is an absolute beast.
On
And his,
this album,
his parts are so good, so well thought out, so perfect. And he can play them. You know, it's not studio trickery with Bittner.
So if you were to start a band, you could choose between Lars, who we talked about last week, or Mr. Bittner. Who would you choose?
Okay,
That's a great
in this hypothetical, have I recently been hit in the head with a cinder block?
You're very tall. You might hit your head every now and then.
I do, but that's beside the point.
You're like Herman Munster in the morning.
Unless I've been hit in the head with a cinder block or some other large, heavy object, I'm going to choose Bittner.
But John, being a drummer yourself, as far as complexity goes, Bittner is better
All day.
than Lars. We
all
agree
day.
on that, right?
Again,
I mean, anybody in this room, you would know.
I edited, of course, the 72 Seasons review podcast, and I've listened back to our conversation, specifically the things I had to say about Lars, and I second guess, like, God, should I leave that in there? It's saying some not nice things, but I think it's valid. I'm glad I left him in there because I don't think I'm the only one that feels that way. And
You're saying what people might be thinking.
Well, I think I mentioned it in the last podcast that I do want to give credit to the guy. I make the comparison. I say this to a lot of people about music that they may not be a fan of, but you have to appreciate the talent that it takes to get there, or the work that went into it, or just the fact that, it may not be something you're really attached to or that you love, but it does work for the project. I mean, I say all the time, like Celine Dion. I am not a fan of her music, but my God, she's one of the most talented singers on the planet. And I would never discount what she can do. Voice of an angel. Lars, is he the greatest drummer on the planet? I don't believe he is, but I have to give credit to the guy for writing parts that work. They work. They work for Metallica stuff. Jason Bittner, could you put him in a big swing band or something like that? I don't know. I don't know if he gets down that way. But I can tell you that when I listen to him, I'm enamored with what he does.
Did you know that Jason went to the Berklee College of Music in 1988?
I did not know that.
So music theory is not lost on him. And I do question because, again, I enjoyed Scorched more than my go-tos, which were Under the Influence and The Years of Decay.
In the long run, do you think Scorched will rank higher on your personal Overkill album list?
Production-wise, when you go back and look, and they need to remaster it, and Overkill, if you listen to this, Bobby, if you listen to this, Jason, if you listen to this, go back and remaster some of your albums in the 80s because they're just thin. They are, I'm not going to say they're unlistenable, but I would love to hear them remastered. They deserve it.
Yeah.
They deserve it. But for me right now, if I'm going to have an Overkill kick, I love Hello from the Gutter. I love saying it. I love the song. It's just such a cool song, but it's thin. So I'm going to listen to Scorched. I'm going to go back and listen to some of their, the stuff I've missed since I left reviewing. Like I remember The Electric Age. I think that was the last Overkill album that I touched and was involved with in any way, and that was 2012. So I'm going to go back and listen to The Wings of War and The Grinding Wheel and White Devil Armory. I mean, those albums, I have not heard them. I am curious now.
Suggesting a remaster brings up an interesting conversation. I don't know, maybe if it's interesting to me, maybe not to anybody else, but the idea that an album from decades ago, hell, even years ago, less than 5 or 10 years ago, the rate at which studio technology grows is crazy. And there are plenty of albums from that era that I would love to hear retracked, not just remastered and re-EQ'd and that sort of thing, but actually Like, I'd love to hear some of these bands that have been around 30, 40 years go back and re-record albums that they did in the 80s. Going back to Metallica, they do not need to go back and re-track any of their stuff from the early days, in my opinion. But there are some bands, of course, none are coming to mind right now because we're in overkill mode. None that I can think of that I'd like, man, I would love to hear them go back and re-record them with tech that they have now.
Fair.
But for Derek, hey, his birthday's coming up at some point within the next 12 months. So maybe if we could get Overkill to remaster some of their albums, it'd be a nice birthday gift for him.
So is that what you're going to do? One band that is doing that, it's Sepultura, but it's not Sepultura. It's Max Cavalera and Igor Cavalera. They are re-recording some early Sepultura albums, Morbid Visions and Bestial Devastation. They, production-wise, are virtually unlistenable. They just are. Are they?
Would you say that's your opinion, or would you say that's the generally accepted opinion?
I think it's generally accepted. I think the reason why Max and Igor are redoing them is they know that. For me, it's schizophrenia forward with Sepultura, and then when Max left, I left. It wasn't Sepultura. I'm out. No offense, Derek Green, but I'm a Max guy.
Yeah.
But it's cool that they're doing that. I'm glad that Max is getting the opportunity to do it. They're putting it out a Nuclear Blast. I would love to hear Overkill take some of their classics and re-record it with the modern times, with the lineup they have now, because those records re-recorded would be absolutely killer. And plus, I'd love to hear, hello, hello, hello from the gutter. Again, I would love it. It'd be great. Just modern.
You know what? I would be thrilled just to have you record just the vocal tracks. Your version of the vocal tracks a cappella with nothing. I would listen to that for hours.
I don't know if I can listen to that.
Well,
maybe you can.
Dave, you annoy me, and the next time you annoy me, I'm going to scream at you with hello from the gutter screaming. So get ready. You're doomed.
It's coming. Yeah, Jason Bittner, absolute monster, great player. Love what he did on this record.
This band's tight.
Dave Lintz, great chops. From an instrumental standpoint, I was a huge fan of the record. Not my favorite vocal styling there again. It fits really well with the flavor of Overkill. To me, they're an old school 80s thrash metal band, and they still maintain that aesthetic with this current album, but the production of the record is great. It sounds great. It's super listenable.
Would you say that they're similar to Metallica in the sense that they came out strong with maybe 4 albums, but stayed in their lane and never changed and went commercial?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And Slayer did the same thing.
I mean, I'd be a liar to say I listened to all their albums, but their second album, Taking Over, is awesome. I remember listening when I was in school or younger, and maybe I'll go back like Derek and revisit it. But they started out the same way as these other bands did, but they just stayed the course.
In both of your estimation, did Overkill how many albums in total?
That's gotta be what, 19?
There's 20. This is the 20th.
It's awesome. It's
and they hit a home run on their 20th.
Oh, it's a great record. It's a great record. But did Overkill have no disrespect, Metallica, did they have a Black album? Have they had any albums where you guys were just like,
Derek would know more than me, but I would say, how many songs went on the radio on that album?
On the Black album? Yeah. Oh, it's insane. Commercially, it was huge.
Commercially, just huge.
Massive success.
Has Overkill had that? I would say no. Derek might disagree.
They haven't. And this is not a shot at Bobby, but I don't see Bobby singing music that's going to be on top 40 rock. He has a voice for thrash.
Yeah.
He has a voice for metal.
And he probably really doesn't care.
Yeah, I don't think he cares. I think he is living his best life and living the life that he wants to lead.
That's the thing. His vocal style is not my favorite vocal style when it comes to heavy music. He employs that old school metal vibrato, but he does it with that super gritty, nasty sandpapery voice. But then I get shocked, in certain tracks where it gets real smooth, real quick. And so I'm very impressed with what, he can do vocally.
And I think I alluded to this before and I didn't finish the thought. I've always thought of him in the same vein as Rob Halford.
Yeah, you did mention
and Judas Priest is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Rob did what Judas Priest did well, but he was very, very dynamic. Bobby's not far off now. When you really think about it, it's just they haven't had as much of a commercial success. that Judas Priest did. And they also didn't experiment. They have been a thrash record or thrash band
Yeah.
through and through. Judas Priest had songs that, were rock and roll songs. They were songs that, like Turbo Lover. Turbo Lover is a song that is not metal at all. It is made for radio. Overkill hasn't written any songs for radio. And that's the reason, that's the difference between Halford and Bobby. But they have similar voices. They're kind of grating and kind of thrashy, kind of nasty. But one stayed the course with who they were. And I'm not saying Judas Priest didn't. They just expanded. They had commercial success and they tried different things. Again, if I ever had a chance to talk to Bobby Blitz, I bet you he'd say, I wouldn't change a damn thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Not a fucking
Which
thing.
would be rad. Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking that we voice our opinions in these conversations, and some of them are certainly not popular opinions. I'm sure some are popular opinions, but we're not here to shit talk people too badly.
Just each other.
Just each other.
Just each other. Yeah. But I would love to talk to Bobby, because I've obviously never met the man. I know nothing about him other than his performances. But my guess is that, he'd walk in and go like, oh, cool. You're not wild about my stuff. That's cool. Either fuck off or that's cool.
Has life not been good enough? 19 albums. He's still going.
20. Do you not? Did you
20,
not listen?
Sorry, Derek. 20.
Please, David,
how bad is it?
pay attention.
Come on. Life is pretty good for Overkill.
Well, and again, I will say the same thing about Bobby's vocal stylings that I would about Celine. Just because it's not my chosen style does not mean I don't have respect for what he can do.
It's fair.
And he is a monster. His vocals are crazy on this.
One thing I do want to say too is artwork. Artwork matters. Metal fans wear it.
It's true.
And Overkill, I would argue, and again, I've said this about Testament too, have had some of the coolest album covers, some of the coolest artwork, and even when you look at their merch, fantastic.
Charlie, that's the mascot, right? The skeleton head with the bones.
I've got to pull up that. I want to see that artwork there.
It's rad, and even even on and I use Apple, so when you're on iTunes, the skulls actually like move around and stuff while you're playing it. And so I was driving down the road the other day listening to it, and I'm watching the little skulls, and like almost drove off the road. Just because it was so cool.
I was just about to admonish you for looking at the phone while you're driving.
Well, luckily, when I was doing it and looking at it, there was nobody on the road, but just me, because it was
then it's totally
5
fine.
a.m. coming
it's
down
fine to
here.
not pay attention to the road.
Yeah, well, 5 a.m. coming down here. And by the way, where we work, it's an early wake up. And so I'll get up at 5 and I do listen to metal at all hours of the day.
Yeah.
5 a.m. Yeah, you know what? We're doing a review on Overkill this week. Let's listen to it. Yeah, over a cup of coffee.
Yeah, for the uninitiated who may hear this, the three of us idiots are forced rather to work together, and so we see a lot of each other.
I'm not forced to work with you,
not really.
John, but I am forced to work with Dave.
I only see Derek a few times a week.
Both of us
enough.
are forced to work with David.
Yeah.
Which
he's
I can take Derek in doses. Does that make sense?
It does.
Doses. I can only deal with him so much.
I would sit with Derek all day, every day.
You
and
can do
enjoy
that.
it.
I can't.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is that Dave he doesn't button up his shirts all the way, so he shows off his chest. He's a very arrogant man.
It's the New Jersey.
It is. And
no disrespect to New Jerseyans.
Hey, Overkill's from Jersey.
That's what I'm saying.
And we really don't want to see his. I don't.
His man chest.
It's not very metal.
Your opinion?
It's just.
I mean, you can't. He's a handsome man.
Thank you, John.
Would you agree?
Yeah, but I don't want to see the handsomes. Button up, dude.
I don't think it's really as bad as
you see that middle age.
He's getting like really.
His chest is getting pink.
He's covering up his chest, and then he's probably moving around the microphone, so you're getting feedback. I mean, come on.
Listen, if diverting to me, making fun of me makes you two feel better, go ahead.
Oh, really?
It's
this
okay.
coming from you?
It's okay.
You're the most brutal human I've met in like 15 years. You rarely have a nice thing to say about anybody.
Listen,
but you're in the nest.
You eviscerate people, and then you go, "Oh, it's okay, I love you."
But your guys are in my nest, so it's different.
We are in the trust tree.
So if we ever get a following, I'm gonna make stickers that just say Dave sucks, and that's why it's gonna say
shit talk reviews.
Yeah,
Dave sucks with a picture of his metal god. Bio picture with his pointy nipples.
Yeah. Speaking of those images, clearly they're pretty accurately representative of what we look like.
I love the images.
I wake up in the morning, I put my armor plates on my shoulders, strap my cod piece on, and come into the office.
Did you like this album as much as 72 Seasons? Like, did you enjoy it? Did you feel good after you listened to it?
This is a little more my wheelhouse than Metallica. Metallica is well, relative to Overkill, 72 Seasons, let me be clear, not their whole discography. This is a little nastier on the whole. So, yeah, it turns my wheels a little harder than 72 Seasons
72 Seasons, I loved it, but I kind of expected it, right? This one, I was kind of like, wow, it's pretty good. For a
Knocked you
band
over
that's
a
been
little bit.
around this long,
Yeah.
this much turnover, like Derek said earlier, pretty impressive at this, pretty impressive overall.
We're starting
with
an
this
interesting
album.
trend. You know, our first two podcast reviews have been about bands that have been around for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the next couple we'll have to do Unearthed, who also has been around for close to 20 years now, but their new album is great. And I would say there's a newer band. I'm not going to mention them now, but we might want to consider that. But
We have some stuff.
I have one on the horizon that
Yeah.
I won't share. We'll wait, but it's going to like
You and I have chatted about a band that is
Yes.
a newer
That's
band.
the one
that-
I'm-
all right,
yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about that one.
You know what's surprising? I was surprised that you chose Overkill. There's no 80s spandex here. You know, and that
Right.
seems to be your thing.
Being from New Jersey, I knew who Overkill was. Was I a huge fan? No, but I know who they are. I know their first 4 or 5 albums, and I was just, they kind of just fell off for me. I don't know if you said that before, but they fell off the map for me. I hadn't listened to them for years, and you brought up this album. I was excited to listen to it, and I enjoyed it. I really did. I enjoyed it. I think everybody knew who Overkill was in the 80s, did they not?
Hey, Dave, shut up. Let's do scoring now.
All right, yeah, let's score this bitch.
I went first last time. So.
Take us there, Derek. What
I
do you think?
appreciated this album as much as I appreciated the Metallica album, so I gave it a hard 8, just like last week. And I'm thrilled for the guys. I really am. I don't know them, but I think that if I was Bobby and Jason Bittner and the rest of the band, I would be really happy. And I have looked what other people are saying, and it seems to be people really enjoy it. Old school metalheads and hopefully new school metalheads will really get into them as well, and hopefully we will contribute to that.
I'm sticking with the same number that I gave to 72 Seasons. Again, I hope we're not starting a trend here. Have our scores bounce around will be great. But a hard 7. I enjoyed the hell out of listening to it. I've spun the record, 8, 9 times now in the last week, and I've enjoyed listening to it every time. There's been no desire to track past any songs or...
Can I challenge you?
Please.
So you gave Metallica a 7, but you haven't listened to it since.
No, that's not true. I have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So 7, you're sticking with it.
Interestingly,
If you're going to call them out, you got to know your facts.
No, I asked the question. So Dave, zip it. I'm gonna go slug you.
please do. But give me like 5-second head start so I can get the camera going.
Yeah.
I will say I have not intentionally put 72 Seasons on, but it auto plays, for me on Spotify or whatever. And I have not turned it off anytime, which is great. And I've enjoyed listening to the tracks. The question I have to ask myself is, have I enjoyed listening to the tracks because I'm like, God, this is a killer song? Or am I listening to it to pick apart certain aspects of it? Which I do. That's just in my nature. I sometimes struggle to listen to a piece of music without being hypercritical about it. I don't know. I should work on that because sometimes it's about, don't focus on like, oh shit, he slipped that kick. It should have been, a little earlier, a little later, things like that. Just try and wash that away and just let the music hit you from a pure listener standpoint, not from a musician or a player standpoint. But we do have some albums coming up that we're going to discuss and do posts about that I wouldn't even know how to play or perform the parts myself. Those are records where it has to just kind of wash over me because I wouldn't know how to do that myself anyway. So I'm looking forward to talking about those.
Yeah.
So David, where does this land for you?
So for me, I think that two different, right? Overkill and Metallica. The bar is set high for Metallica that it's almost like you're hard on them. You expect them to be on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 72 Seasons was as good as it was. The expectations are just so bigger for Metallica. for this band, the expectations aren't set, right? The bar's not as high.
Your bar or your perceived bar for society?
I'm talking just for myself. My
Okay,
bar,
sure.
going into Scorched, the bar wasn't set as high as my expectations were for Metallica.
Okay.
With that being said, I love this album. Yeah, I would put this, and again, I would be a liar to say I listened to all the Overkill albums, but from the first 4 or 5 that I have listened to, there's traces of that. And I'm with Derek. I think the current band, the current lineup is solid. Loved it. Like the musicians in the band. Going to give it an 8.
Nice.
Solid. And I would, no doubt, listen to this album again. I will. But this.
I'm listening to it when we get off
Yeah.
this. I'm going to get in the car and head home, and I will have it on.
Have it crank.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a good album.
It's one I will listen to myself as well, even with the things that I'm not wild about, because overall it's a great listening experience. It's a fun listen. And to that, we have created a Spotify playlist. All the music that we've done, any reviews, either podcasts or written reviews on InstaFace. So if you get on Spotify and just search for Shit Talk Reviews, you will find that playlist. I think it's up around like 4.5 hours of music, and obviously it's just getting longer. So,
Well, and that said, I've had a couple people ask why we're not on Facebook. So we'll do it. I will make that happen this weekend.
we're getting on the face place.
We're going to do the
Is
Facebook.
this happening?
It is.
Big step.
I will move everything over to there as well. I refuse to do TikTok. I'm not going to do it.
No, we won't do it.
My 11-year-old daughter loves it, and I just refuse.
That's great for your 11-year-old daughter. I will jump in front of a train before I do anything on TikTok. Maybe that's because I'm old.
I would push Dave in front of a train.
That's why we're doing it.
Hey, whatever we got to do.
Well, you called me fat.
I'll take one for the team.
You called me fat, and now
I never called you fat.
You did.
But
I never
did.
said he was fat.
We did. We can go to the tapes.
you
not gonna
lose,
get into
and that's why I would push you in front of a train.
Though, since we're talking about, how massive Derek is, can we take a quick second and appreciate that he, God bless the man.
I give Derek props. He
Well,
lost his
you
weight.
shamed him. He didn't need to lose it before, but you shamed him.
He got dragged into it to support Mark, and he held his own.
Because he got dragged into it because you told him he was fat. That's messed up.
We had my father was down, and this is totally going away from Overkill. And I'm sorry, Bobby, if you're listening to this, and the rest of the band,
Or anybody
if
else.
anybody, whoever is listening to this. My father comes down. We go to Disney Springs, and we're at the Rainforest Cafe, and I order a salad. And my father looks at me like I'm insane, because we're out having a good time. And my kids are like, "What are you doing? You're eating a salad." All I could see in that salad
me.
was his face. The man I hate. The biggest asshole
Was I smiling
with his
back?
chest hair sticking out.
Was I smiling back at you?
You were.
You
pompous
smug
prick.
son of a bitch.
I'm sorry you had to go through that. But look, you lost the weight. You did great.
I did, and I will continue to
And
try
I
to
got
lose
news
it.
for you. Unlike Mark, you're going to keep the weight off. He's going to gain it back. So in the end, we'll be laughing
my
at
God.
Mark.
See, here we go. Shit talking people who aren't in the room to defend themselves. You are an awful human being.
Good job.
And on that note, thank you guys for sitting in here and talking more shit with me. And to anybody who's listening to this, thank you for checking in as well. We cannot wait to talk more about music and, more importantly, shit talk one another. All right. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.